Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Here's the headline. Concerns about military toxic exposure injuries remain high among vets. This is an article that I found on military.com, and I wanted to share it with you. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I appreciate it. There could be some valuable information as we go through it. We might be able to pick out some nuggets. And look, if you're looking to support the channel in any way, I really appreciate all of the support. Letting the video run longer is one way to do it. It tells YouTube to send this to more veterans. And then the other way would be, if you're interested, to become a member. It is a great way to support the channel, and it helps me to find you in the comments. So with that, let's jump into it here. All right, Veterans Affairs medical staff say patients continue to report high rates of concern about potential military toxic exposure injuries, underscoring the non-combat dangers faced by troops across different generations of military service. In November 2022, as part of an outreach effort mandated under the Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act, the PACT Act, VA officials began administering toxic exposure screenings. Many of you may have gone to these toxic exposure screenings, by the way, as part of regular veteran health care visits. VA Undersecretary for Health Sharif Ellenhall said this week that the department completed nearly 5 million total screenings in the last year. About 40% of veterans surveyed reported potential health concerns related to burn pit smoke, Agent Orange poisoning, water contamination, or other military toxic exposure threats during their time in the ranks, Ellenhall said. That rate has remained steady over the course of the last 12 months. It is, and I'll tell you this, that the more that we talk about things and the more publicity and the more exposure of worries and concerns, like this article, like this YouTube post, that type of stuff, the more that we get eyes on it and could potentially get additional help regarding those things. The next quote here is, "It's connected to all generations," he said. "This is really a confirmation of what advocates have been saying for years, that the denominator of veterans exposed to harmful substances is quite large. Veterans who voice concerns about problems during the screening are not necessarily ill or injured now, right? Just like Agent Orange. It wasn't the next day. It could have been many years later that something popped up. So that's kind of the same thing that's now happening with the burn pit stuff. Moving on here, but VA staff said the goal of the questionnaire is to head off potential serious health problems with early intervention and consistent monitoring. Now, here's, I guess, the call to action, right? If you were in an area that had Agent Orange, or you were at Camp Lejeune with contaminated water, or other areas with contaminated water, by the way, or you were burn pits, right? If you were any of those, I mean, those are the three, right? Is Camp Lejeune, Agent Orange, and burn pits for the Gulf stuff. So if you were exposed in any one of those three facets, the idea is go do the screening. Yes, 5 million vets already did it. Are there more that need to go? Sure. Go. Get screened, have the conversation, and get checked for potential issues. You might not be feeling something today that you're experiencing symptoms of, but imagine if they caught something before the symptoms arise. In other words, catching it way early, you have a much better chance of nipping it in the bud before it becomes a major problem. Moving back on, Ellenhall said, VA staff has set up a new referral procedures for individuals who show signs of toxic exposure injury and additional training for clinicians on the topics. No clinician should be surprised when a veteran presents with a concern about an exposure and how that might relate to their health, he said. Department leaders hope to eventually use the data collected from the screenings to look for trends in military toxic exposure illness rates, potentially predicting which veterans may face more serious health consequences in the future. The information will also be used to add more illnesses to the list of conditions presumed caused by military service, opening the door for veterans to more quickly and easily obtain disability benefits. Another huge nugget, right? 1, get screened. Good. 2, this type of information will help the VA to determine other presumptive conditions that should be added to the list. If you don't know, presumptive conditions eliminate the need for that nexus. So for a standard service-connected condition, you need to prove that the condition either manifested during or is a result of your service. Somehow, some way, you need to prove that. The easiest way is get diagnosed while you're in service. Now, with a presumptive, it takes away the need for the nexus, and it basically states that if you served in this location during this time period, then look at the list, and if you have one of these conditions, then we're just going to presume that it's because you served there, and they take away that burden of proof for you. So presumptives are really important. And I believe that the PAC Act opened up the window for the VA to be able to establish new presumptives on their own instead of going third party. So moving on, Ellen Hall said officials' next push with the screenings will be to contact more veterans who do not regularly use the VA for health care to better gauge their medical status. About 3 million veterans are enrolled in VA health care but do not regularly visit any department medical offices. So that's kind of the third piece, right? Everybody has a different kind of, I guess, thought on VA healthcare. My kind of thought on it is if you're close to one and you don't have any other insurance, that's probably what you're using is your VA healthcare. If you're further away from a VA healthcare facility, either the actual hospital or a clinic, if you're further away, well, then what happens is, especially if you have another source of insurance, let's say that your employer provides insurance for you and you kind of have to take it, well, then what's going to happen is you might just go ahead and utilize a civilian doctor who's down the street from you. It makes it a little bit easier and what have you. The other kind of piece of it is when you look at the total veterans in the U.S., and this is really the swimming upstream part for me, the people who are eligible for VA healthcare and the people utilizing VA healthcare already understand VA benefits as far as the compensation side is concerned, which I believe is a very important benefit for all of us. Now, out of the 16.5 million veterans or so, whatever the number is, in America, it's only about whatever the number is, 27, 28, 29%, less than 30% of that number are utilizing the VA for compensation, which compensation is the primary doorway into the healthcare system. So what we need to focus on is the other 70% of veterans who are not connected to the VA in any way. That's kind of the swimming upstream part. But in any case, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.